After 27 years of loyalty, love, and sacrifice, she came home to betrayal. Her husband, Greg, the man she had stood beside for nearly 3 decades, had not only been unfaithful, he had moved his mistress, Bridget, into their family home. Her home. The place she had built, the walls she had painted, the garden she had planted. She was cast aside as if she were a stranger. The betrayal cut deep. The woman who had shared his struggles, raised his children, and poured her life into their marriage was discarded for someone new. And yet, Greg and Bridget didn't stop at betrayal. They flaunted their conquest by living inside the very house she once called her safe place. To most, this would have been unbearable, a breaking point. But instead of exploding, she stayed silent. One evening, while sifting through old documents, she stumbled upon something she had forgotten. In the pile of yellowed papers, there it was, the deed to the house. And on that deed, in bold, undeniable ink, was her name. She still owned half of it. The law hadn't erased her. Greg couldn't erase her. No matter how much he tried to replace her, she was still tied to that house, legally and powerfully. That discovery was the turning point. She could have shouted. She could have stormed into the house, thrown Bridget's clothes onto the lawn, or tried to match Greg's cruelty with her own. But instead, she chose a path that required no raised voices, no wasted tears. She turned to the law. Quietly, calmly, she filed a partition action, a legal motion that would force the house to be sold and the proceeds split. Greg didn't see it coming. Bridget didn't either. To them, they thought they had won, that she was gone for good. But soon, reality set in. The papers were served. The process had begun. And there was nothing they could do to stop it. Greg shouted, Bridget schemed, but it didn't matter. The walls they tried to claim as their own were slipping away. While they scrambled in chaos, she sat in peace. Every insult they hurled, every tantrum they threw, only made the silence more powerful. Because behind that silence was the weight of the law, and the inevitability of justice. And then came the day. A sign was planted in the yard, for sale. The house that had been filled with betrayal was now stripped of power. Moving trucks came. Boxes were packed. And when the sale was complete, half of the money landed directly in her account. No arguments. No begging. No compromise. Just cold, hard justice. Greg and Bridget were left with nothing but bitterness and regret. Their empire of lies had crumbled. And she? She walked away not just with money, but with something far greater, freedom. She used that money to buy a new home. Not just 4 walls and a roof, but a place that was entirely her own. A fresh start. A place without lies, without Greg, without shadows of betrayal. And the most beautiful part of all, she never had to scream, never had to humiliate herself, never had to chase revenge. She let silence, patience, and the law do the talking. Because revenge doesn't always come with fire and fury. Sometimes, the most powerful revenge is peace. Asterisk. For 15 years, Maria believed in building dreams together. She worked 2 jobs, saved every penny, and helped her husband Daniel launch his business. She cooked, cleaned, raised their daughter, and even mortgaged her inheritance so he could buy the office building he wanted. She thought they were a team. But success changed Daniel. What started as late nights at the office soon turned into whispers, then lies, then proof. He wasn't just working late, he was working his charm on his secretary, Hannah. And when Maria confronted him, Daniel didn't even deny it. Instead, he sneered and said, "You're nothing without me. This business, this house, it's all mine now." Maria broke that night, but she didn't break loud. She broke quietly. She left his words hanging in the air and let him believe them. Weeks later, she sat with her lawyer, sliding across every document she had carefully kept for years. And there, in black and white, was the truth Daniel had conveniently forgotten. She wasn't just a wife. She was a co-signer. She was a guarantor. She was a legal co-owner of both the house and the business property. And so, Maria filed. Calmly, strategically. While Daniel bragged to Hannah about expanding his empire, legal notices were being prepared. When he laughed at her silence, court orders were already on their way. By the time Daniel realized, it was too late. His accounts were frozen, his business tied up in litigation, his empire collapsing under the weight of a woman's quiet planning. The office building? Sold. The house he thought was his? Auctioned. And half of everything he had tried to claim as his own went directly to Maria.